Hello everyone, welcome to Nupma Biology classes. This is the second lecture in the series of Human Physiology. In this section, we will know about the human digestive system in detail. So, now let's start the topic, that is the human digestive system. The human digestive system is divided into the two parts. First one is the alimentary canal and second is the digestive glands. Alimentary canal is a combination of different organs like mouth, vestibule, buccal cavity, pharynx, esophagus, stomach, small intestine, large intestine, and anus. So, alimentary canal starts from mouth and completes on anus. Next, digestive glands, and the digestive glands is a combination of salivary glands, gastric glands, liver, pancreas, and intestinal glands. These glands secretes different type of enzymes which help in the process of digestion. Now the first one, that is the alimentary canal. So what is the alimentary canal? Alimentary canal is the major part of the digestive system which continuous muscular tube runs through the body and it is around 8 to 10 meters long. It's open at two ends. First at the anterior end, that is the mouth, and second at the posterior end, that is the anus. Histology. What is histology? Histology is the microscopic study of the structure of tissues. Now, the wall of alimentary canal, which is made up of four layers. Now, you can see the picture. In this picture, you can see the four layers of the alimentary canal. On the upper side of the picture, you can see the two words are present, that is the retroperitoneal and intraperitoneal. So, what is the meaning of these two words? Retroperitoneum means behind the peritoneum, that means inner side of the peritoneum, and the intraperitoneal means within or administered by entry into the peritoneum. So it is the outer part of the peritoneum. Now the first wall of the alimentary canal, that is the visceral peritoneum or serosa. It is the outermost layer and made up of thin mesothelium and connective tissues. Now you can see the picture. The arrow indicates that is the serosa. It is the outermost layer. Next is the muscular coat or muscularis. It is made up of smooth muscle which arranged in two layers, that is longitudinal muscle fibers on the outer side and the circular muscle fibers on the inner side. In between these two muscle fibers, nerve cells and parasympathetic nerve fibers, that is myoenteric plexus, are present, which controls the muscular contraction. Now you can see the picture. This is muscularis. After that, the submucosa. It is made up of loose connective tissues which contains nerves, blood, and lymph vessels. Between the muscular coat and submucosal plexus is present, which controls the secretion of intestinal juice. Next is the mucosa or mucous membrane, which is the innermost layer of the alimentary canal. It is made up of three layers. First is the muscularis mucosa, which is the outermost layer. After that, the lamina propria, which is in the middle, and the last one is the simple columnar epithelium, which is the innermost layer of the mucosa. Then, part of the alimentary canal or alimentary canal anatomy. The alimentary canal starts from the mouth and completes on anus. So the first one is the mouth. You can see in the picture it's the structure of complete oral cavity. So mouth is the uppermost opening of the alimentary canal. It is bounded by upper lip and lower lip, and the ingestion of food starts from the mouth. After that, mouth enters into the vestibule. Vestibule is a narrow space which enclosed between the lips and cheeks externally and the gums and teeth internally. The lining of vestibule contains mucus gland which secrete mucus. Then vestibule opens into the oral cavity, which is also known as buccal cavity. Buccal cavity is the large space bounded above by the palate, below by the throat, and on the sides by the jaws. Throat supports the tongue and jaws bear teeth. The buccal cavity consists of different structures like palate, tongue, and teeth. So, the first one is palate. Palate is the roof of the mouth which separating the cavities of the mouth and nose in vertebrates, and it is divided into two parts, soft palate and hard palate. Soft palate is movable and consists of muscular fibers. It is responsible for closing of the nasal passage during the act of swallowing and also for closing of the airway. During sneezing, it protects the nasal passage by diverting a portion of the excreted substance to the mouth. While the hard palate is strong and supported by bones, it has transverse ridges called palatine rugae, which helps in keeping the food in place during mastication. Next is the tongue. It is fleshy and muscular structure which lies along the floor of the buccal cavity. The upper surface of the tongue consists of various projections known as papillae, which contain sensory receptors called taste buds. Tongue is an organ which act as a brush to clean the teeth. Also play a role in speech because it helps in forming words along with lips, teeth, and hard palate. It's an organ of taste also. Now teeth. Teeth are present in both the jaws. The number of teeth are produced in two sets. Temporary or milk teeth, which appear during the first 2 years after the birth at the beginning age of 6 months, and the permanent teeth, which after shedding of the milk teeth appear between the age of 6 to 12. So, human beings are diffodont because teeth appears in two sets. Some organisms have a single set of teeth like whale, which is known as monophyodont. In case of the human, four types of teeth are present. Now you can see the picture here, the incisor, canines, molars and premolars. So the first one is the incisor, which is sharp teeth at the front of the mouth that help in cutting the food. In the picture you can see the arrow indicates the incisor which is present on the front of the mouth. After that, canines, which are pointed teeth that sit next to the incisor and help in chewing the food. This is the canine. After that, the premolars. These are bicuspids and help in chewing and grinding the food. These are premolars, and after that, molars. These are large flat surface with ridges and help in chewing and grinding the food. In elephants, incisors of upper jaw so grow into a tusk, while in rabbit and squirrels, canines are absent. At this place, gap creates, which is known as diastema. The last molar in case of the human is known as the wisdom teeth. Then dental formula. What is the dental formula? It is the arrangement of teeth in the jaw, that how the teeth arrange in the jaws. So here you can see this is the temporary teeth set and the permanent teeth set. In temporary teeth set there is 20 and in the permanent teeth set there is 32. I indicates incisor, C canine, M molar and PM premolars. This figure shows the number of teeth in half of the upper and lower jaws. So this formula given half of the total number of teeth. You can double to determine the full number of teeth. Now you can see as an example in temporary set 212 by 212, that means 5 by 5. It's the complete half of the portion of mouth, and after that if you double it 10 into 2 that means 20, the whole set of teeth present in the mouth in case of the child. Then the structure of tooth. A tooth consists of three regions: crown, neck and root. Crown is the exposed part which you can see, and neck is surrounded by gums or gingiva, and root is embedded in the socket of the jawbone. Tooth is made up of a hard substance known as dentine, and the crown is covered by a shining material called enamel, which is the hardest substance in the body. So, enamel is the hardest part in our body. Now, the buccal cavity open into the pharynx. Pharynx is the back of the mouth and it is the passage common for both food and air. It consists of three parts: nasopharynx, oropharynx, and laryngopharynx. Then pharynx open into esophagus. Esophagus is a muscular tubular structure that moves the bolus from the pharynx to the stomach in the presence of peristaltic movements. So, what is the bolus? Bolus is the partially digested food with mixed with saliva and mucus in the mouth. And what is the peristaltic movement? Peristaltic movement is the continuous contraction and relaxation of the muscular organs. Like esophagus is also a muscular organ and here no digestion occur. So it's act as a passage for the movement of food from the mouth to the stomach. Now the esophagus enters into the stomach. Stomach is a wide J-shaped muscular sac and it is situated right below the diaphragm. And you can see the picture. This is the structure of the stomach, and stomach have divided into the five different parts. You can see that is the cardiac part, fundus, body, antrum, and pyloric. Now see the picture. The arrow indicates the part. First one is the cardiac part. It attached to the esophagus. That means it is the upper part of the stomach. After that the fundus, then the body is the middle main region of the stomach, then antrum, and after that the pylorus, which attached to the duodenum, and duodenum is the part of a small intestine. So the junction where the esophagus opens into the stomach is projected by a sphincter called the cardiac sphincter. What is the cardiac sphincter and what is the role of cardiac sphincter here? Cardiac sphincter checks the regurgitation. Regurgitation means passage of back food into the buccal cavity. It's only occur in case of vomiting. So stomach has main functions, that is the storage of food, mechanical churning of food, partial digestion of food, and regulation of the flow of food into the small intestine. Now the food opens into the small intestine. It is a narrow tube about 6 meters long and longest part of the alimentary canal. It has three regions: duodenum, it starts at the lower end of the stomach and it is the uppermost part of the small intestine. Then the jejunum is the middle part of the small intestine, and the ileum, it is the last and longest part of the small intestine. Now see the picture here. This is the lumen of the small intestine, that means the internal part, and here the villi are present. Villi are the finger like projections which increase the surface area for the digestion and absorption of the food. Small intestine has main two functions. First one is the digestion and second is the absorption of food. Now the small intestine opens into large intestine, which is 1.5 meters long, and it has three main regions: cecum, colon, and rectum. Cecum is responsible for the digestion of cellulose by the bacterial action. It is large in case of the herbivores. After that colon, it has four regions: ascending, transverse, descending, and sigmoid or pelvic. Then the rectum, it is the last part of the large intestine which opens into the anus. Large intestine responsible for the absorption of water, formation, temporary storage and elimination of feces, and production of mucus for the lubrication of mucosa. So large intestine opens into anus, which lies at the base of the abdomen in the fold between the nates. Circular muscles surround the anus and these sphincters have control over holding and releasing of the fecal matter. So this is the complete part of the alimentary canal. Now the digestive glands. The digestive glands consist of first one, that is the salivary gland, and the salivary glands are present in the mouth. Salivary glands are of three pairs. Now you can see the picture. There are three pairs of salivary glands are present. The first one is the parotid gland. It is the largest salivary gland that lies on the side of the face just below and in front of ear. This is the parotid gland, which is present just below and in front of the ear. After that, the sublingual gland that lies under the front part of the tongue. This is the sublingual gland. And the last is the submaxillary glands. We also know that submandibular gland. This is the submandibular gland or submaxillary gland, lies at the angle of the lower jaw. In case of the parotid gland, if viral infection occurs, then swelling and pain cause. This is a type of disease and is known as mumps. Here, these three glands, parotid, sublingual, and submaxillary, combine to form a salivary gland and release a liquid. This is known as saliva. This saliva contains salts, water, mucin, and enzymes. Saliva is responsible for moisten and lubricates the buccal cavity, neutralizes acidity of the acid in the buccal cavity, helps in digestion, and kills bacteria. The pH of saliva is 6.7. Then the gastric glands. Gastric glands, the most common type of gastric glands are three. That is the peptic cells or chief cells, which produce enzymes, oxyntic or parietal cells, which secretes HCl, and mucus cells, which secrete mucus. And these three secretions from these three glands combine to form gastric juice, and the pH of gastric juice is 2. After that, two less common type of also gastric glands are also present. These are argentifin cells, which secrete serotonin that act as a vasoconstrictor, and endocrine cells, which release gastrin, which stimulates enzyme action and HCl. Then the liver. Liver is the largest gland of the body, weighing about 1.6 kg, and it consists of two lobes, right lobe and left lobe. And behind this main lobes, two small lobes, that is quadrate and caudate, also present. And the gallbladder is an organ which is present in the liver's right lobe, and this is responsible for the secretion of bile, which help in the emulsification of fat. Then the pancreas. Pancreas is an elongated yellowish gland lying partly behind the stomach in the abdomen. It consists of head, body, and tail. You can see the picture. Here, head is present in the curve of the duodenum, and the tail meets the spleen. And the secretion by the pancreas is known as the pancreatic juice, which contains different type of enzymes which help in the digestion of food like protein, starch, fats, and nucleic acids. It secretes sodium bicarbonate also, which neutralizes the acidity of chyme caused by the HCl. Then the intestinal glands, which present in the wall of the small intestine, and this is of two types. First is the crypt of Leberkun, and second is the Brunner's gland. And the secretion of these two glands combine to form the intestinal juice or succus entericus, which act on all type of food. About 2 to 3 liter of intestinal juice secreted each day. So this is the complete digestive glands. Now you can come on the topic, that is the physiology of digestive system. If we talk about the physiology of digestive system, the utilization of food involves several processes in our body, which start from the ingestion and completes on egestion. You can see here in between the ingestion and egestion, digestion, absorption, and assimilation present. So the first one is the ingestion. Ingestion means taking food into the oral cavity through the mouth, and nutrition in case of the human is holozoic. So what is the holozoic nutrition? Holozoic is a type of nutrition in which food is taken through the mouth and break up the large organic molecules into smaller pieces. So with the help of different enzymes, so these small molecules are absorbed into the cells and utilized. After the ingestion, food enters for the digestion. And you know what is the meaning of digestion? Digestion is the complete breakdown of food. Okay, so in our body three macronutrients are present, that is the carbohydrate, fats and proteins. These three macronutrients converted into the micronutrients or smaller parts, that is required for the complete digestion and absorption. So carbohydrate is broken down into the glucose, fat into fatty acid and glycerol, and protein into amino acids. So where the digestion occur? Digestion occur in the oral cavity, stomach and small intestine. Digestion begins from the oral cavity or buccal cavity. So in the oral cavity, there is two process occur, that is the mechanical and chemical digestion. In mechanical digestion, grinding of food occur. So because of this, the larger particle of food is broken down into the smaller pieces, and this process is called mastication. And the chemical digestion, which consists of salivary amylase and lingual lipase enzyme. By this, the large molecule is converted into the smaller molecules. So the first one is the starch. Starch is converted into the maltose and maltotriose with the help of enzyme salivary amylase, which acts on at the pH 6.7 to 7. And the second is the triglycerides, that is fat, which is converted into the diacylglycerol and monoglycerols at the pH of 4.5 to 5.4. Here lingual lipase act. So the lingual lipase convert triglyceride into diacylglycerol and monoacylglycerol at the pH of 4.5 to 5.4. In the buccal cavity, food is tasted by the taste buds, moistened with the mucus and saliva, and partly digested by the salivary amylase. So here the food converted into the bolus, which is start to move from the mouth, that means oral cavity, to esophagus, and in the esophagus there is no digestion occur. Here only the peristaltic movement of food occur, which is responsible for the movement of food from the oral cavity to the stomach. So the food from the oral cavity enters into the stomach, and here the mechanical and chemical digestion occur. In mechanical digestion, the peristaltic movement occur, that means contraction of smooth muscles from the fundus towards the contracted pylorus part of the stomach, and this process is called propulsion, that means the action of driving or pushing forward. After that, now the food starts the churning movement, and here the food mix with the gastric juice. So what is the gastric juice and what is the mixture of gastric juice? Gastric juice secretes from the gastric gland, and it is the mixture of HCl, pepsinogen, prorenin, lipase and mucus. So when the food enters into the stomach, it stimulates the gastric mucosa to secrete gastrin hormone, which stimulates gastric gland to secrete gastric juice. So the goblet cell starts secreting mucus and pyloric gland mucin, which lubricates and protects the epithelial surface for the excoriation by HCl and digestion by enzymes. So here a question, that why is the stomach not damaged by HCl? Because the mucus is present in the stomach. This mucus lining prevents the acid present in the gastric juice from damaging the stomach. This wall created by the mucus layer is called the mucous membrane. It behaves like an acid cover that the stomach uses to save itself from getting burnt while using harmful acids. Then the chief cell starts secreting pepsinogen. Pepsinogen is the inactive form of protein which is converted into the active form, that is the pepsin, with the help of HCl. And prorenin is also present in infant. It is also an inactive form which converted into the renin by the help of HCl. So this renin is responsible for the conversion of casein, which is a milk protein, and hydrolyze it into the para casein plus whey protein. This paracasein is precipitated in presence of calcium as insoluble calcium paracinate, which is a coagulated milk and converted into proteins, peptones, and polypeptides. Now, in gastric juice, gastric lipase is also present in less amount, which acts on fat and converted into monoglycerides plus fatty acids. Here, you can see it acts as a negligible amount. Why it acts in negligible amount? Because this enzyme destroyed by free acid, that is HCl, which is present in the stomach. So, what is the role of the HCl in the digestion? The role of HCl is at first kills harmful pathogens, then converts the inactive enzymes into active form, and after that provides acidic medium for the protein digestion. No digestion of carbohydrates occur in the stomach. After the stomach, food enters into the small intestine for the complete digestion. The semi-digested food from the stomach mixed with the gastric secretion, which is known as chyme, enters into the small intestine. And in small intestine, three type of secretions occur. First is the bile, which from the liver, and the pH is 8. Pancreatic juice, which pH is 8.8 from the pancreas, and intestinal juice, which pH is 8.3 from the intestinal gland. So here we will study one by one all the juices and its action on the macronutrients. So, first is the action of pancreatic enzymes. Pancreatic enzymes contains carbohydrate digestive enzymes, that is pancreatic amylase, protein digestive enzymes, that is trypsinogen, chymotrypsinogen, and carboxypeptidase, of fat digestive enzymes, that is pancreatic lipase, nucleic acid digestive enzymes, bicarbonates, and water. So first is starch and glycogen, which is converted into maltose, isomaltose, and limit dextrins in the presence of pancreatic amylase. After that, the trypsinogen is converted into the trypsin. Trypsinogen is an inactive form of the enzyme which is converted into trypsin with the help of enterokinase. Chymotrypsinogen is converted into chymotrypsin with the help of trypsin. Chymotrypsinogen is also inactive form of the enzyme, and these both trypsin and chymotrypsin acts on proteins which converts the proteins into peptides and peptones. After that, procarboxypeptidase is also present in pancreatic enzymes, and it converted into the carboxypeptidase with the help of trypsin. After that, peptides converted into dipeptides and amino acid with the help of this carboxypeptidase. Then the action of bile. The bile has no chemical action, but the bile has two main salts, that is the sodium glycolate and sodium thyrocolate. This salt breaks the large fat molecules into the smaller ones, and this process is called emulsification. That is, triglycerides is converted into the emulsified triglyceride with the help of bile salts. And the last one is action of intestinal enzyme. Intestinal juice contains 6 carboxyhydrases, 2 proteases, a non-digestive enzyme enterokinase, intestinal lipase, nucleic acid digestive enzymes, mucus, carbonates, and water. So first the starch and glycogen, which is converted into the maltose, isomaltose, and limit dextrin with the help of intestinal amylase. After that, the maltose, which is converted into the glucose by maltase, isomaltose converted into glucose by isomaltase, limidextrin converted into glucose by limidextrinase, sucrose converted into glucose, and fructose by sucrase. Sucrose is disaccharide which is converted into glucose, and fructose, both are the monosaccharides. So this is the smallest form of the carbohydrate. Lactose is converted into the glucose and galactose by lactase. Peptides is converted into the dipeptides and amino acids by aminopeptidase. Dipeptides is converted into amino acids by dipeptidases. And then triglycerides, diglycerides, monoglycerides, it converted into the fatty acid and glycerol by the intestinal lipase. After that, nucleases are present, like which acts on DNA and RNA. Then DNA converted into deoxyribonucleotides by the deoxyribonucleases. RNA converted into the ribonucleotides by ribonucleases. Deoxyribonucleotides and ribonucleotides converted into deoxyribonucleosides, ribonucleosides, and inorganic phosphates by nucleotidases. These deoxyribonucleosides and ribonucleosides converted into nitrogenous base and pentose sugar by the nucleosidases. Thus, the end product of nucleic acid digestion are nitrogenous base, pentose sugar, and inorganic phosphate. Thus, the digestive process have converted into the macronutrients into the smaller part, that is the glucose, fatty acid and glycerol, amino acids, nitrogenous bases, pentose sugar, inorganic phosphate, etc., which absorb into the bloodstream for the bodily use. Then, after the digestion, the process is absorption. The digested food passes from the alimentary canal into the blood and lymph through its mucous membrane. Absorption mainly occurs in the small intestine. For the absorption, the internal surface of the small intestine have many villi and microvilli are present, which like a finger-like projections, which increase the surface area for the absorption. After that, the assimilation of food, that is incorporation of absorbed food material into the tissue cells as their integral and homogeneous component, and then the egestion, which is the elimination of indigestible remains of food from the alimentary canal. So, this is the lecture. In this lecture, we know about the digestive system of human beings. So, we will continue with more such tutorials, and stay tuned with this lecture series to get more knowledge about the human physiology as well as other biology topics. If you understood this lecture, please like it and share it with your friends. Subscribe to this channel, Anupma Biology Classes. Thank you for watching the video. Let us know in the comment section below how did you find this video. If you have any questions, queries or suggestions in biology, you can ask in comment section below.